We got a Kyber Crystal Ahsoka card for the first time ever in the game. Let's jump into set 4 thoughts. All right, so the spoilers for set 4 have been pretty exciting. I know I'm not alone in this, largely because we see certain cards and leaders dominating from a specific set. Cough, cough, Spark of Rebellion. The spoilers for this set feel very strong. I feel like this set is actually setting the tone for the second block of the game, Block A. And for those who don't really know what that is, if you look at my screen here, you can see like a little A symbol. And that means that sets 1, 2, and 3, Spark of Rebellion, Shadows of the Galaxy, and Twilight of the Republic, will be sets that rotate out next year when the 7th set releases. I believe the 7th set releases. So basically, rotation was announced. If you don't know about rotation, go check it out on FFG's website. They have a live stream about it on their YouTube. Definitely check out FFG on YouTube and subscribe to them. But these cards are very strong. And I think I've noticed a little bit of a theme here. And I know this because they have shared this, that they actually designed set 1, 2, and 3 together. And I do think that Spark of Rebellion sort of functions as like a base set for that block of sets, right? A block meaning 3 sets. And the next block is going to be this set, Legends, and then I believe an unreleased or unnamed 6th set. I'm not sure about that. That may be released. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head here. But this set is seemingly very strong, and I think is actually going to set the base for the next block. And there's something about the power level there. I could be totally off, but I do think that this is going to have a lot of internal consistencies that when set 1, 2, and 3 go away, these cards will then get more support in set 2 and 3. So First Order, Resistance, maybe even Rebel. So let's take a look at some of the cards that were spoiled, right? We saw Ahsoka this week, which was very, very cool. We saw Moff Gideon today, which is Friday, the 31st of January. We saw Profundity, but we saw a couple of interesting cards, and I kind of want to talk about where my head is at. And, you know, everyone is thinking about different cards. They're getting different ideas. But there's a card in particular that has my eye, and it's actually Black Squadron Scout Wing. And, you know, I'm obviously an aggro player. I love yellow-white. I'm very biased, absolutely. But there's something about this card that feels very, very combo-y. And I do think we're going to get a leader that supports this card. I think we're going to get a leader that fits this card very, very well. And I think that leader that we'll get will synergize with this card. And we haven't seen it yet. And it's largely because we haven't seen any good yellow, white, or red, white leaders. And I think there's going to be a leader that is going to play well with this card. We have Wedge right now. He's pretty good. Works with this card. But there's another card that I want to kind of highlight that synergizes with this, which has resistance, and it's BB-8. I think that BB-8 is actually incredibly powerful and has a large ability to combo out. And I'm really excited to build this deck because I do think there's a yellow, white, red deck that is an aggro deck that has the ability to essentially either get early damage and win like a typical aggro deck, or pivot from that game plan when they get controlled or they get traded into to essentially pivot into like a combo victory. And I'm looking to find this deck and build it because it's very exciting to me because there is no stack in this game like Magic where you can like do things that sort of build upon each other, but you can do some really interesting stuff. So I'm going to take a look at this deck called Blonde Han 4, Blonde Sabine. Go check them out on YouTube, but Frank and Courtney from the Bothan Network. But I really like this because BB-8 here has the ability to essentially... Let me pull up a bigger version of this card here. All right, BB-8 is really strong because of the way that you can sequence when played abilities. When you play BB-8 on the Black Squadron Scout Wing, which I'm going to pull just both of them up here. You can essentially ensure that the Black Squadron Scout Wing will always be untapped. So let's say you play this for 5 resources, right? And you want to attack with it. Well, you can attach an upgrade to it, pilot or not pilot, and you get to essentially get an immediate attack action with a +1/+0 buff. Now, what BB-8 does is if you pay 1, you may pay an additional 2 if it's piloted. And when you do that, if you pay that additional 2, you may ready a resistance unit. So it's really powerful here is when you play this for 3, you can play it on your Black Squadron Scout Wing. You get to attack for 6, all in one action. And you can also untap BB-8, or sorry, you pay the 2 to untap the Black Squadron Scout Wing to then also, after you complete the attack, untap it. And because you can essentially sequence how these resolve. And with that combo, you're essentially able to get, I believe that's 11 damage. So 6 plus 5 out of 1 unit. So you get an attack and you get to untap that unit. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Let alone does this almost function as a weird surprise strike or something like that. It also allows you to untap the unit to get additional damage out of it. And this is only one of these cards. We don't really know what the full set is. We might have more resistance cards for BB-8 to be used on. But this is absolutely incredible. And I do believe we're going to get a red-white leader or a yellow-white leader that is going to synergize with this combination of cards and help us pull this combo off. And so I'm obsessed with this combo. I think that there's going to be something really interesting to build here. Let me pull up in the deck that I've been building. I've been testing Han because we really just don't have a good understanding of what the leaders are going to be for this set. Sorry, Admiral Akbar, not looking super great right now for this type of deck. But I feel really strong that there's going to be a pilot, red, yellow, white, space deck. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. That there's going to be a deck that fits these colors that's quite good. Now, this is not an ideal deck. I was actually running Tarkin Town originally with Daring Raid. Didn't pan out too well. But I do think we need some more support. We're missing a couple things. This deck is missing more turn 1 space plays in yellow, white, or red, white that would work with pilots. We're actually missing a 1-drop and heroism of some kind in space. Right now we have Cartel Turncoat. We have Wolfpack Escort, and that's about it. If we get one more card that also happens to be a Rebel, we are cooking with gas, okay? The theory is that the first set of every block is going to essentially set the stage. It's going to set the tone for the block. And Spark of Rebellion did that. Spark of Rebellion, very strong. Very strong cards, very strong legendaries. And we're kind of seeing that here with Ahsoka Tano. We're seeing that with some of these higher costed, like this is going to replace Crate at some point, right? We're seeing that with, this card is quite valuable because it gets you resistance units. R2 is insane. A 0-cost upgrade? That's crazy. Very, very good. Boshek has way overperformed in testing, often drawing you 2 cards in the right deck. Cough, cough, Han 1. Or even Han 4 even. This Boba Fett is very good. Houndstooth is very good. Having First Strike is amazing. Let's take a look here. Leia seems pretty good. The Red Squadron Y-Wing. Oh, I did say I don't really like this card for various reasons. I think it's a bit weak. Giving your opponent... Right now I'm low on this card. I think I'm probably wrong on that, but that's where my gut's at. Nia Nub has been very good. This card has been insane. Red Leader... I mean, we are seeing the power level of this set is much higher. Devastator's quite good, right? Obviously, this card made everyone go nuts when it was spoiled originally. We got the Falcon, of course, the card is good. Never Tell Me the Odds here. Chewie has been insane. Bosk is pretty good in the right deck, in the Underworld decks. I hate this card against Cad Bane because if they play it as a pilot, I do believe they get the Underworld ping, which is really annoying. So these cards look very, very strong. So I'm super excited. I'll show you guys the other deck that's been testing well. And it's actually been, wow, what is his name? Oh my goodness. Wedge. Wedge has been absolutely ridiculous. Essentially getting a turn 1 play out and then being able to put an upgrade on it. If they don't have an open fire, first off, if you play a Nia Nub on an Alliance X-Wing, that thing cannot be killed. It has a 5 toughness thing. That thing ain't dying. Very strong. This is just something I've been testing in the Botha Network competitive team, and it's been very, very good. Red Leader has I thought this card was a little mid. You can essentially play this card on turn 2. You can play Red Leader. Let's go look up Red Leader real quick. Where you at, Red Leader? Here we go. You can play Red Leader on turn 2. This unit costs 1 less to play for each friendly pilot unit and upgrade. So if you have one pilot upgrade out on turn 1, this costs 3. So you can play it right away. And then you can tap your Wedge again, right? You can tap your Wedge to then play another pilot on the Red Leader and get a token. And at that point, you have 2 big units and a token that can also accept pilots. And it's just such a good deck. Playing the Chewbacca for 2 is ridiculous. Absolutely, Snap Wexley should not be in here, but he's in here under the precedence that they print more resistance units. And I know it's going to be good if they print more resistance units, because you're able to search up that Black Squadron Scout Wing. Maybe they'll print some 3 or 4 drops even that you can then sequence into with Snap on turn 3 and turn 4. And so I've just really liked this deck. This deck essentially just goes super wide because you're discounting the pilots for 0 often. It gives you the freedom to play Spark of Rebellion and to rip out their answers, even though you're an aggro-ish deck. You're just constantly putting pressure on the board. It's just a really good deck overall. And then the ability to obviously play Blue Leader on the ground has been very good. This deck overall, again, like I said, has performed very, very well. And I think Wedge is going to be one of the breakout leaders of the set. I'm currently looking to build it. And that kind of brings me to the end here. I'm not going to make a super long, convoluted video for you all. Just kind of an update. And as the new cards come out, I'm going to be releasing more content. Getting kind of reinvigorated here for the next set. Doing a lot of testing behind the scenes. And, I'm going to shameless plug myself, obviously. I do have a Patreon. And if you're interested, I will be... these decks that I'm play testing into the Botha Network team, so that the decks are getting reps on high-quality players. The decks are then shared in my Patreon. So if you're interested in following along with me, I will be posting those decks in there. So these are just like my hot takes right now. But I believe somebody posted today in one of the Discords that we only got like 89 cards spoiled. Let's take a looky here. We have 89 cards spoiled, right? We got a long way to go. So these decks are likely to change quite a bit. But they're feeling very fun. They're feeling very fresh. And they're feeling very strong. I can tell you I played a lot into Green Sabine with my Wedge deck, and I was just absolutely crunching out their Bright Hopes. Their Bright Hopes just got deleted in one attack pretty consistently. Nia Nub has been an all-star. That thing can add 3-4 power at times to your units, which is completely ridiculous for a 1-cost upgrade, or 0 if you activate Wedge. I've been loving Wedge. Check them out. Love to see if anyone else has been building Wedge. Have you been building Red Wedge, Blue Wedge? Definitely put that down in the comments below. So if you're looking to continue to learn more about the game as we move on, and learn more about decks, I'll be talking more on the Patreon, but you can also subscribe down below to just kind of follow my general thoughts on the set, talking about and showcasing different spoilers and seeing how they're going to pan out into the meta. And this is looking really fun. And, next week it looks like we're probably going to get sectors and regionals announced. Good and exciting times for Star Wars Unlimited. I'm glad to have you all with me. Peace out.